DaNiDe Productions. How's it going, Internet? It's Axilotl here, back with our 4th episode of our VGC 16 Aspiration. And today, the team that I thought we were going to use is a team around Mega Houndoom. And the team is Houndoom, Groudon, Ferrothorn, Yveltal, Landorus T, and Kangaskhan, because it's never wrong to add Kangaskhan on a team. But I felt that Houndoom had some potential VGC 16, as Groudon can therefore have the sun up for the whole time if no other weather comes and changes it. And as well, with the fact that Groudon is the more common of Kyogre and Groudon, you can often come up against other Groudon that will put up the sun for you, as that will make Houndoom much more useful, that is not just dependent on your own Groudon. And as well, that I felt that Yveltal really worked with it, as it can boost up all the Houndoom's Dark Pulses, so Houndoom's Dark Pulse becomes super powerful. And then I felt that we needed Ferrothorn to be able to take care of Kyogres, as that Houndoom and Groudon is a little bit weak against that. And then I wanted to have one more counter against our Groudon, so I added a Landorus, or Special Landorus T. And then I just had Kang in the back, because against Xerneas, this team can be pretty weak, and then we would need the Fake Out to be able to easier take care of Xerneas with Ferrothorn. But we can look for a battle. So we found a battle. It's against team with Infernape, Groudon, Salamence, Ferrothorn, Crobat, and Xerneas. I'm wondering if Houndoom is the right call here, as Houndoom can do a lot of work, though I'm not really sure how good it can do against Xerneas, as I would predict him to lead with his Infernape and his Xerneas, as he could just Fake Out anything in my team and put up a Geomancy. As well, he threatens my Ferrothorn, so Ferrothorn can't really deal with it, as I'm wondering if I should lead with my possible Houndoom and Groudon lead, or anything else in that sort, as I could lead with Houndoom and Yveltal and put up a Tailwind, and then next turn do a lot of damage to the Xerneas. Though I'm thinking about possibly leading with Kangaskhan, as I could just Fake Out Xerneas here, though it doesn't have the goodest matchup against Infernape, so I would guess that Houndoom would be a decent lead here. And as well, that we could overheat the Xerneas, and that would do a lot of damage, even if it is at +2, as it will have the solar power boost and as well the sun boost. So I think I'm just gonna go with Houndoom and Groudon, and in the back I feel that Ferrothorn doesn't really do anything against or barring taking care of Xerneas, as we can hope that both Houndoom and Groudon can possibly take care of Xerneas, and we're gonna have Landorus in the back, as it can better deal with his Groudon and his Salamence, as we can see how it goes. As I would guess him leading with Xerneas, as he doesn't. He leads with Infernape and Crobat. And here, that works for me, as I would guess that he will just go for a CC onto Houndoom over than going for a Fake Out, I would guess. But I could be wrong, as he possibly doesn't really want to let me get up Tailwind. But I feel that the Protect would be the better play. I need to Mega Evolve to get up the speed, because after Mega Evolve I'm faster than this Infernape. And I'm just gonna go for a Tailwind, and we can see how it goes. I would feel that he will go for the CC onto the Houndoom, as he Fake Outs Houndoom. That's fine with me, as we get up the Tailwind, as I'm wondering if what our play should be here, as we don't really like that Infernape could get off a CC onto our Houndoom here, as I'm thinking that we can't really get the KO onto his Infernape with either Sun Boosted Heat Wave, so we would need to go for a Overheat, and that isn't really maybe the best. And I would guess the switching into Groudon would be the best, as it can take the CC, and from there we could just knock off this Infernape, and I feel that he would go for the Houndoom, as he would be afraid of it. And he Super Fangs Yveltal, that's fine with me, and he goes for CC onto Groudon, as we take it pretty well, and it hangs on the Sash, as here I'm just feeling to either go for a Sucker Punch onto this Infernape, as I could see him just going for the same play again, though going for a CC onto Yveltal, though he could go for a Quick Guard and therefore block our Sucker Punch that I will possibly want to go for. So I would possibly like to predict that and go for Knockoff on the Crobat, and then go for a Flamethrower onto Infernape, as we don't really need to go for a Earth Bar. And I think that can be a play, and we hope that he goes as he just switched out. That's fine with me, and that was why I want to go for Flamethrower over going for possibly a Earth Power, as we catch Salamence on the switch in, and we go for a Knockoff, and it does a lot of damage. Here I'm wondering that, if I'm not wrong, if I remember the damage count right from the previous, or when I played this before, the Sucker Punch did around 50% to Salamence, even if it was intimidated, so that could be a play, but I'm afraid that he will go for Quick Guard here, as he could just go for Quick Guard and then go for Hyper Voice and KO both Groudon and do a lot of damage to Yveltal. But I'm wondering if I should predict that or not, and then just go for a knockoff on the Crobat and then go for a Sucker Punch. But I don't really feel that we can predict him going for a Quick Guard, as if we predict that and possibly go for Protect and knock off our Crobat, he could really just switch in his Xerneas, and then we'll be a hard spot to deal with it, as we won't have the Tailwind up, and he will be able to just set up a Geomancer for free. So I'm feeling just to go for a Flamethrower onto Crobat and go for a Sucker Punch onto Salmons, as I'm hoping that he doesn't go for Quick Guard, as he doesn't, and we unfortunately missed the KO onto this Salmons, and the Crobat goes for U-turn. He's probably going to go into his own Xerneas. I'm really just feeling that he has Xerneas in the back. But here I'm wondering if Houndoom is the right call, as Houndoom unfortunately misses out to be faster than this Salamence, so we could go into our Houndoom and just double Protect, and then next turn go for a Heat Wave and Sucker Punch onto the Salamence, as this will get the KO, and I feel that will be the best play, as Landorus isn't really gonna do the most here, and I think that we need to double Protect, and I don't really feel that he could switch in his Xerneas here. He could obviously do that, but I would feel that he would have already brought it in if he had it, as when he went for U-turn onto Crobat, I would have gone into Xerneas over going into Infernape if he had it. So I'm just gonna go for the double Protect here, and he'll probably gonna fake out the Velta and just go for possibly a Tailwind, but it doesn't really matter if he goes for that. It's just gonna be harder to deal with his Infernape, and I hope that his Infernape doesn't faint, as that will outspeed our possible Protect and as well break the Protect here. And he unfortunately has it, and I'm just going to Landorus. I think we have lost this match, as our Houndoom will not outspeed the Selmas, and I think the best play was possibly to, or this turn is possibly just to go for a Heat Wave, and because we live the Hyper Voice with our Houndoom, but we don't want to take a lot of damage with our Landorus, so just to not take a lot of damage with Landorus, we're just going to Protect, as he's just going to probably go for a Hyper Voice, and then probably a Feint onto Landorus. So we could guess, though it's better to go for Protect and let him go for that Feint, because it's not obvious that we will go for Protect either, as it's not obvious that Landorus has Protect, as it could be a Choice Scarf variant, it could as well be a Choice Banded variant, so I would guess he would not go for Feint on it, as even Choice Scarfed or Banded Landorus is pretty common in this meta. But myself, I love the special variant, as it gets KOs onto Groudons. But I wonder what he'll go for, as I would guess he would not have Xerneas in the back. I would possibly guess Groudon. If he has Groudon in the back and we get the kill on both of these, we could actually win the match. As he just goes for Feint onto Houndoom, and he goes Hyper Voice, as Houndoom takes over 50%. A little bit too much for my liking, but at least we get the kill on both of those. And he brings in his Groudon, as that works perfectly. As I'm wondering here, as I think he wins, just if he goes for Tailwind and Protect. And I'm not sure if we can do anything against, as then upcoming turn he could go for Eruption and kill us both. So I'm not really sure. We could just, I think we can't really predict that. I think we just need to go for the either Heat Wave and Dark Pulse, but that has to miss, or just going for Dark Pulse onto Crobat, guaranteeing get the KO, and just go for Earth Power and hope he doesn't Protect, as I think that's going to be my play, and we hope that he doesn't go for Protect, and he doesn't go for Protect, and he's just going to go for Tailwind, as he does. And here we can, I'm not really sure, hope that we have an imaginary Focus Band with our Landorus, as we obviously don't, but I think I'm just going to go for a Dark Pulse on the Groudon, and I could possibly just stall out the Tailwind turns, so possibly if we lived with one of them and we didn't get the KO, we could possibly stall out the Tailwind turns to go for double Protect, I feel. And though that possibly one of the best play, as we need to take the Solar Power with our Houndoom. What we can just apparently has Focus, or Fire Punch, I mean, and that I think actually we can live there, but I can be wrong, as if he just has Fire Punch, that was protecting with Houndoom was possibly a misplay here, as he misses the KO and he gets a burn. As it doesn't really matter if we get the burn, we are special and we get the win. That felt really, really good. And that shows how powerful Houndoom is, as it did over 70% to a Groudon with the Dark Pulse. And I'm really, really happy that he didn't bring the Xerneas, as I, with my lead, and as well the Pokemon that I brought, I was pretty weak against his Xerneas, but unfortunately didn't really bring it. But with that said, we can look for one more battle. So we found one more battle. It's against a pretty standard team with Groudon, Xerneas, Kangaskhan, Cresselia, Crobat, and Smeargle. I'm just thinking that we need to bring Kangaskhan in this match, as Houndoom doesn't really do a lot, as it could possibly get the KO onto Cresselia, though more than that, it doesn't really do so much. And I feel that we need to bring Axilotl and Kangaskhan, as that would decently take care of his Xerneas lead, and I could possibly see him leading with his Groudon to counteract us leading with Ferrothorn. So I feel that would be the bird play, and just have Ferrothorn and Groudon in the back, as Ferrothorn could take care of the Xerneas if we okay with the Groudon, and if you got the Tailwind, we can be through his Xerneas, even if it has a Geomancy up. We could do a lot of damage with either Flamethrower or Eruption. But with his team, I'm a little bit afraid of his Smeargle, as that could be a problem, as if he leads with possibly is Crobat and Smeargle, and it has a Choice Scarf variant, as I've seen sometimes, and just Dark Voice us, and then switching Xerneas and goes for Demoncy, we could be pretty in a bad position, as we would need to get off a first turn Wake Up, as either a Tailwind or Double Edge into Xerneas would then be pretty good, as then we could upcoming turn go for Sucker Punch. But I hope he has a Sash variant onto the Smeargle over having Choice Scarf, because Choice Scarf is a little bit harder to deal with, as he actually does lead with Crobat and Smeargle. And I'm pretty much predicting him to have a Choice Scarf variant, and I would not guess him having a possible Tailwind Crobat here. I feel the best place to just go for a Double Edge or possibly Low Kick into Smeargle. I think that Low Kick still gets the KO, and he could possibly go for the Protect and Tailwind, so I just want to get up one of my Tailwind of my own. But we can see if he is Choice Scarfed or not, as he is Choice Scarfed, and we hope he misses. Nope, he doesn't miss anyone. But at least we get the first turn sleep at least gone, and we can go for Double Edge onto Smeargle, as if he wants to switch out, we can catch someone on the switching, and then go for a Tailwind. As I would guess, this Crobat staying in here and go for a Tailwind, and then just possibly switching his Xerneas. That would what I would do. And if our Kangaskhan can wake up here, we can deal with his Xerneas pretty well, as it will do over 75%, and from there we could go for a double Sucker Punch, and Xerneas is down. So in this match we need to deal with Xerneas and win. And then we probably will win this match, because this team is a little bit weak against Xerneas, and especially if it's paired with a Choice Scarf Dark Voice Smeargle. But in my opinion, I don't really feel that Smeargle is the most reliable Pokemon, as it only hits both of the Pokemon 64% of the time, and that isn't really a best win ratio if you want to win every match. Especially if you want to lead with Crobat and Smeargle, because if you miss one of them, your Smeargle is either going down or your Crobat is going down. At least was how I led this match. But we can see what he does. I would probably predict him going to Smeargle, or Xerneas I mean, and just go for Deomancy. As we can hope we wake up here, as we unfortunately do not, and we do not either with Yveltal. But I'm wondering if he will go for a Deomancy, or if he will go for anything else this turn, possibly a Dazzling Gleam, but I feel just going for Double Edge would be the better plan to Xerneas. And in my opinion, to go for a Tailwind would have been better with Crobat here than going for a Super Fang onto Kang. But I'm just going to go for a Tailwind here with Yveltal, as he switched out to Smeargle again. We wake up, that's very, very good. And if you just go for Geomancy, as I hope it actually does, we can really punish him, and that's perfect. As here, I'm going to be afraid of his Smeargle having Fake Out, as I've seen that sometimes, and I don't really think he will go for Yveltal, who'll go for Kang, but I don't really know if we can predict that, as I could possibly switch out into Ferrothorn, but I'm not really sure if Sucker Punch is a KO onto Xerneas from here. I would guess that, but it's not really guaranteed if I'm not wrong. But I feel just the better play here is to go for possibly a Double Edge into Xerneas and just Protect. Then upcoming we can switch into Ferrothorn and go for Sucker Punch and KO Smeargle, as our Ferrothorn is Lomberry. But I'm not really sure about that. As well, I'm maybe pretty afraid of him having Follow Me, though with going for this we can counteract that. Other than just go for Double Edge into Xerneas and Protect, I feel. As he protects with Xerneas, and he's just gonna go for a Dark Void here. And he goes for a Transform, and we have both two plus 6 Xerneases. And I'm wondering if this Smeargle, as it had Choice Scarf, will it be locked into something or not? I haven't actually tried myself, but we could just at least get KO onto one of them with going for Sucker Punch into the Xerneas. And with him having Smeargle, Xerneas, and his Crobat, we could guess him having just Kangaskhan in the back, not over possibly having a Groudon. So we could, with the Pokemon in our back, we could deal with his other Xerneas. But here he went for Protect, we can easily go for a Sucker Punch into that slot, and I'm wondering if we should double into it, or if we should go for anything else that possibly go for Sucker Punch and Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch with Kangaskhan onto that Xerneas, and Sucker Punch into here, hoping that this Sucker Punch gets a KO, but I just want to be safe and at least get the KO on one of them, and we're gonna both double into it, as Kangaskhan nearly misses the KO, but at least we got one down, and he's gonna go for Dazzling Gleam, and both our mons go down. And I'm just gonna bring in Ferrothorn and Groudon. Hope he just has Kangaskhan in the back, as we can deal with, or relatively deal with Kangaskhan. Maybe not perfectly, but we can take care of it better than possibly something else. I'm not really sure what would be better. As he goes into Crobat, that would be most ideal. As I'm wondering if he will go for a Super Fang onto Ferrothorn and just go for Moonblast, but that won't really work. As he would go for a Super Fang onto the Ferrothorn, but with Crobat being not +2, as Xerneas is, so Xerneas will go before Crobat, and therefore he could not go for this play, but he could still go for, as it seems that Xerneas, if it is a Choice Scarf Smeargle, he will still be locked into the Dazzling Gleam, so he can only go for Dazzling Gleam. I could possibly, with that in mind, go for this Gyro Ball and Protect, as he will probably do a lot of damage here to Groudon, and I feel that will be my play right now, as he can't really KO Ferrothorn. As what does he go for? As he go for Dazzling Gleam, and we take that pretty well. What does Crobat do? As he goes for Tailwind, that's good. I hope he doesn't have Groudon in the back, as he probably will with him going for Tailwind here. And from there he will just KO our Groudon and we can't do anything about it. Unfortunately, I think we got the loss here, as he will just Super Fang and Eruption and both will go down. We could play off the fact that Crobat misses, and he misses the KO onto Groudon, and he goes for Eruption. So I think that would be our play, as we hope he misses his Super Fang. As I'm just gonna go for Protect and then go for a Earth Power onto Groudon, hoping that he misses. And we can just hold our thumbs and hope that he misses and he doesn't go for Earth Power. As he does go for Super Fang, as he unfortunately doesn't miss it, and he misses Prism's Blades, and I hope we get the carry. As he unfortunately missed. Oh, so close. Almost won. But I think the only play here, at least with our Groudon here, is to try to go for Double Protect. As we could still win with us going for Double Protect, but not really, as he could still win with him going for Protect Tailwind upcoming turns. As I'm wondering if he will go for a Prism Blaze again or not. I would guess so, so I think I'm just going to go for a Gyro Ball into this Groudon as a shoot KO from here, and we're just going to Protect every Groudon and probably get a Double Protect. As he goes for Ferrothorn, hope he misses again, and he doesn't, and he gets a KO on Ferrothorn. But here we think we need to go for a Double Protect. We can't do anything else, and hope we get it, and hope that he can possibly miss one more Prism Blaze, because I think we need that to win this match. As he will, upcoming turn, if we get Double Protect, he will go for the Protect Tailwind play. As I'm just gonna go for predicting the Protect here, as I think it's really obvious, and I'm just gonna go for the Flamethrower into this Crobat, and I'm just gonna double check and see if Flamethrower does more damage, as Eruption will do only save 5, as therefore Flamethrower will be better, and I'm just gonna Protect as he does. And what does he do? Does the Crobat go down? As it does, we can just hope it all comes down to this. Does he miss it or not? Yeah, he doesn't miss it. Ah, too bad. But a very close match. Really, actually cool match in my opinion, that he had a transformed Choice Scarf Smeargle that then was locked into Dazzling Gleam. I felt that is something that you can learn of, that it guaranteed is locked into Dazzling Gleam, or the first move it goes for if it's Choice Scarf. With that said, I feel this match was really good, really close. We won the match. Unfortunately, he could miss one more, but with that said, we can look for one more battle. So we found a battle. It's against a team with Dialga, Kangaskhan, Groudon, Smeargle, Cresselia, and Talonflame. I'm wondering what we should do in this match, as I would guess that the way to go is to try to win with Tailwind, as I feel that Groudon as well as Landers can do a lot here, as both his legendaries, Dialga and Groudon, is pretty weak against possible Earth Power. So I'm feeling just to have Kangaskhan in this match would be better than Houndoom, as I feel that Houndoom is pretty weak against Talonflame, as Talonflame does over 70% to it with a Brave Bird, if I'm not wrong, and that would easily just take care of this Houndoom. So I'm feeling just to lead with Kangaskhan and Yveltal, and then in the back just have Groudon, as that could deal with both his Groudon and Dialga, and as well Landers. The thing that we need to be afraid of is possibly his Smeargle, so if he doesn't have Choice Scarf, we could possibly try to double target it pretty hard, as we don't have our Ferrothorn that had Lumberry. That could be a better counter against it. That is the main counter against Smeargle in this team. So we can hope that we can get off this Tailwind, as the Tailwind is my way to win this match. As he leaves his Kangaskhan and Talonflame, he's probably just going to go for Tailwind of his own. I'm wondering if I should go for the sort of 50-50 with going for low kick. I'm feeling just going for low kick here and just going for a Tailwind, as playing off that I guess the 50-50. As with me going for Fake Out onto something else wouldn't really help, and as well if I don't Mega Evolve this turn, I will not be able to be faster than his Kangaskhan upcoming turn, because we're both going to get Tailwind this turn, as I would predict that. As he goes for Protect with Talonflame, and he goes for Fake Out onto Yveltal. That's fine, we're gonna do a lot of damage to the Kangaskhan, hopefully KO it, as it unfortunately doesn't, as it gets the KO. Did not expect that with how the first hit did. But he brings in his Groudon as we get up or we don't have the Tailwind up, but possibly we could double into Groudon here. But I'm wondering if he will go for Tailwind of his own, or if he will go for a Tailwind Protector, if he will go for Eruption, and possibly Brave Bird onto something. But I feel that the better play would be to just go for a Double Edge into this Groudon, and just go for Tailwind, as with the things that we have in the back, if we had just neutral speed with both of these, we can deal with it. As he goes for Brave Bird onto Yveltal, and we got this Double Edge. See if he has special or if he has physical, and he is physical. That is supposed to be better for us, and I think I'm just gonna go for Sucker Punch onto Talonflame, and just go for Double Edge, as we will be faster than his Brave Bird, as both of them will have +1 in priority, and therefore with us having Tailwind we're gonna be fast. So I'm just gonna go for Double Edge onto this Groudon and Sucker Punch onto this Talonflame, and we should get the double KO if he doesn't protect as he does. And he goes for Tailwind of his own, and that's pretty unfortunate, but I feel the better play here, at least now, is to just double into this Groudon, as he will be able to go down even if we get off a Sucker Punch or a Double Edge. So I'm feeling just to go for Double Edge and Sucker Punch onto this Groudon, as I hope that it can carry from here with Sucker Punch from the Velta, I mean, as I don't really feel to have any other play. As when we bring in our Groudon and Landorus, we could just stone it the Talonflame, and then our own Groudon could deal with this possible that it has in the back. As he brings in Dialga, as I'm feeling that, I'm wondering if Landorus or Groudon is the better to take in. I'm almost thinking Landorus, as Landorus will be able to get off the Intimidate, and therefore we can Talonflame's attack, but not really sure. We could bring in Groudon. I'm wondering if it's worth to saving Velta or not, as we could just go into Groudon here and just switch out with Velta into Landorus, and then go for a Earthbound to Dialga. Though I'm feeling that Landorus would be better to bring in, as this Dialga could possibly be Sugar Berry variant, and therefore could have Earth Power in care a Groudon, so it would not be the best play to just go into Groudon and go for Earth Power. And I feel just here we're gonna go for Earth Power onto this Dialga, and better just go for a knockoff onto this Talonflame, or we could just Sucker Punch onto this Dialga as well. I feel just double into Dialga, as he will probably just Brave Bird Velta here, as he doesn't. And we should get the KO on Dialga here, as it does, and that's very, very good. And here, I think just double protect here, so we get away with the Tailwind, and then upcoming turn we could just go for Talonflame, in my opinion, but I could be wrong. But we're just gonna go for double protect, and he can't really do a thing about the double protect here. And upcoming turn, I'm wondering who will go for a Tailwind and protect, or who will go for anything else. I'm thinking possibly going for a Tailwind with a Velta will be the best play, as we see here he is physical, as we remember that. So we could possibly play off the fact that he is physical, and therefore go for Stone Edge onto this Talonflame, as our Groudon is decently fast, and most often physical Groudons is pretty slow. So I think I'm going to go off that fact. I'm just going to go for a Tailwind here with a Velta, and we can see what he does as he protects his Groudon, and we get off our Tailwind, as he unfortunately missed, but it's pretty fine, as here we can go for the KO onto his Groudon. And I'm wondering if we should protect, but I don't really feel that's worth it, and we're just going to go for a knockoff onto this Talonflame, as if we want to KO with Velta, that's fine, as we will get the KO onto Groudon. But here I think we have the match won, as we can just go for a Stone Edge and Flamethrower, and we should get the KO onto Talonflame, as Talonflame can't 1v1 or 2v1 both of these. But really cool to see Dialga. I have used it with combination of Kyogre before, but I haven't used it with Groudon. I'm wondering how good it works with Groudon, as I would guess, at least with its typing, would be better with Kyogre, as it is Steel type. But I'm not really sure. I feel that Houndoom has some potential, but possibly not really the best, as it can't really deal with the common threats as Xerneas and Groudon, as those are pretty much everywhere. And as well, looking at that, if the Xerneas is slower than 161, the Houndoom can get off a Heat Wave that does over 80%, and that would be pretty well. But often, looking how Xerneas has this max speed to be outspeed other Xerneas right now, so if possibly Xerneas go down in speed and more invest in bulk, Houndoom could possibly be better, as it could get off its Heat Wave and do a lot of damage onto the opposing Xerneas. But with that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Hope you test out Houndoom. It would be fun to see any other team with Houndoom. But with that said, this has been Axilotl, and Axilotl is signing out.